Hello fellow chess players, it's Grandmaster Max Illingworth, and for today's training I'll be teaching you how Carlsen won in just 20 moves against Alireza Firouzja in a bullet Blitzkrieg, showing you how to use the power of a lead-in development and take control of the game right from the start. So let's get into this game, which was from a League Chess Blitz match on late February, and we saw a Scotch game with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6 and d4. One nice thing about the Scotch is it allows you to get a lead in central space right from the start. On the other hand, you are giving black a small lead in development at the start of the game in return. A move like knight f6 would be quite normal, but Firouzja played the move of queen to f6 instead. White defended the knight with bishop to e3, and now black really should play the move of bishop to c5 and continue the pressure against the knight with the pins. And after c3 and knight e7, black can play for the d5 break in the middle game, and that will give black a very healthy position here. But instead, Firouzja played the move queen to g6, and unfortunately moving the queen several times like this is not really going to have the desired effect, as after knight to c3, white gets a nice lead in development, and now after bishop to b4, white defended his pawn on e4, which is sort of coming under pressure from two angles, by playing the move queen to d3, simply keeping the pawn well defended. After knight f6, white defended the pawn with f3. And now after the move d5, this is where I want to pass the position over to you and see, can you find the move that Carlsen played in this position to deal with the pressure against the e4 pawn. Okay, you may have spent a bit of time to think about the position by pausing the video, but now you're back here. And it's worth pointing out that e takes d5 is not winning a free pawn, because after knight takes d5, white can't take that knight, because then the bishop would be checking the king. So what Carlsen did is he found a way to ignore the threat, and just continued developing anyway with long castles. We see that the black king is open in the center, and therefore it's actually not in black's best interest to open the center with d takes e4. That is the move that Firouzja played in the game, where Carlsen played the move knight takes c4. Apparently it's even better to play the queen out and try to put pressure on their knight on c6, where queen b5 would have been an annoying pin, for example. But knight takes e4 is still pretty strong. I mean, this was black's last chance to get the king out of this wide open center. In fact, the way this game played out reminds me quite a lot of the game between Reti against Tartakower, quite a famous classic that was, for example, in the Queen's Gambit Netflix video series, for those of you that have seen that. Now, if black were to castle, he'd still have a difficult position, because after knight takes f6, well, he has these double pawns, and white does have a somewhat nice lead in development. You can even just trade the knights, and it's a principle that when you have a better pawn structure, often the trade of pieces will be in your favor. And so trading the queens will make it easier for you to attack their pawn and not to run into any counterplay against your king on the b file as such. So black played the move knight takes e4 instead. The problem is that white is not forced to take knight on e4. Instead, he can play knight takes c6 and threaten the queen d8 style Reti checkmate. Black tried to block that with bishop to d6. You can't really block it with the knight, because then the bishop on b4 would be on pre after that. So black tried bishop d6, but again Carlsen just had all the tactics in this position. And he played the move of knight e5. Granted, other moves are quite strong as well, but knight e5 has the advantage that you're attacking the queen, and you can't take the knight, because then you're going to run into checkmate with queen to d8. So this is the nice tactical point. So we had queen to f5. White moved his knight away with knight to c4, and we see that the knight is under attack, but if the knight moves away, then the bishop is also going to be under fire. So the game is basically lost, but the way that Carlsen converted was very beautiful and very instructive. Because after knight to f6, you could just play a normal move like knight takes d6 and be completely winning. And that is probably the best move, in fact. But Carlsen said, you know what, why not make this a beautiful game and go for a queen sack? So he played the move queen takes d6 here. And after c takes d6 and knight d6, we see that white is getting back the queen thanks to the knight fork. But actually it gets even better than that, where after the move king e7, we see that even with the queens off the board here, that the black king is still terribly exposed. And if black was able to get the king to g8 and castle by hand, at least the game would go on a bit longer. But Carlsen didn't give black that chance. He played the move bishop c5, cutting the king off that way. king e6 would run into bishop c4 with a check. So the king tried to run back with king to e8. But then bishop b5 again brings another piece into the attack with a tempo. And after knight d7, rook he1, king d8, we see that all of white's pieces are in the attack, whereas black has not managed to get his king out of the center or get his rooks into the game. Carlsen exploited that by playing the move bishop takes d7, and Firouzja resigned here because if you were to play after bishop d7, the move bishop takes d7, well, white has a nice move to win the bishop. If you haven't seen it, this is your chance to have a think about it a bit longer. But yeah, the key that Carlsen would have played is the move rook e7, which uses the pin to win the bishop outright. And once you have these blind pigs on the 7th, the rest will be very straightforward for white. So yeah, that was my demonstration of how Carlsen did a bullet Blitzkrieg against the top junior player in the world, Alireza Firouzja. Actually, Carlsen went on to win this match against Firouzja 35-19 if we combine the results of both matches on both the 27th of February and also the 22nd of February, because I actually played 2 bullet matches in the week. So yeah, it's sort of an interesting point because people often think of Nakamura as being the top bullet player, but I think Carlsen is also very strong in bullet, and so it would be interesting to see the two play each other sometime in this time trial to determine who's the real go-to of bullet. Anyway, I'm glad that you really enjoyed this video. Show your appreciation with a like, comment of your feedback on your thoughts on the video and anything that we talked about here. And do consider subscribing to keep up to date with my next Grandmaster chess lessons. I also happen to have a free course, How to Win at Chess, which I've linked in the description. That will allow you to basically go a lot deeper into some of the concepts that we covered here, such as how to take the initiative, how to use the lead in development, and how to pressure our opponents into making mistakes. And a few other nice little tips and tricks as well to help you gain 100 rating points in the next 7 days. So make sure to check that out in the description. Like I said, it's absolutely free. And yeah, I'm glad that you had a great time with me enjoying this bullet Blitzkrieg, and I will see you in the next training video, everyone.